Good morning, 7th standard. We have started with second chapter from your NCERT book, Fractions and Decimals. Now, if you have looked at the chapter, you would know that overall the chapter has 7 exercises, but the first 4 exercises were based on fractions. Now we are moving on to the second part of the chapter, which is decimals. So the last 3 exercises that we're going to do are based on decimals. We have learned to perform arithmetic operations on fractions. Now we will learn how to perform arithmetic operations on decimals, and you all have studied decimals in your junior classes. So to begin with, let's just revise what a decimal number is. A decimal number is a number which has a point somewhere in between the digits. So let's write down. A decimal number is the number with a point somewhere between its digits. Now you know what that point does. That point divides your number into 2 parts. So if I take an example, let's take an example of a decimal number. So I have taken a number 2, 3, 5, 7, 2. I've put a point between 5 and 7. This is an example of a decimal number. What this point is called, it is called as the decimal point, and we simply refer to as a point. This point divides the whole number into 2 parts. So this portion, which is after the point, on the right of the point, it is called the decimal part, or it is called the fractional part. And this portion on the left, this is called whole part. And how do we read this number? The whole part is read together. So this is 235. Then we read the point, and then in the decimal part, all the digits are read separately. So this will be 235.72. All these digits will be read separately. You are familiar with this. Now something else that we know about decimals is that their place value table is not same as a normal number. Let's make the place value table for a decimal number. So since your decimal number has 2 parts, you will have 2 different types of places depending on your point. So from the point towards the left, the places are for the whole part, and from the point towards your right, the places are for the decimal part. So this is your whole part. On the left of point, on the right of point, you have your decimal part. So let's break it down here. So what we have for the whole part, your first place is ones. So if we ignore this side, if we ignore the decimal part, for the whole part your places would be just like you had it earlier when you learnt about the number system. So you have ones place, then you have your tens place, hundreds place, thousands place, and so on. You go to the left side and the places keep on increasing. And for the decimal part, again the places begin from here where the point is on the right side, but we do not have the ones place. What we have is we have the tenths place. If you can recall, last year also we did this. We have used lowercase letters to represent the places in the decimal part. Then you have your hundredth place, then you have your thousandth place, then you'll have your 10,000th place, so on. So if I write these in words. Let's write down. Now just remember that from the point we go away, this is how the places increase. You go away from the point. In whole part you have ones place, but that is not so in decimal part. So this is ones, then this is tens, you have your hundreds, then you have thousands, so on. And towards your right, the first place that we have is tens. Now this is ordinal number. The way you write ordinal number, it's not tens, it's tenths. Then you have the next place, hundredths. You are writing THS at the end. Then you have thousandths, so on. Now if I had to write this number in the place value table, the example that I have taken, so what I would do is I would be writing these at respective places. Let's take a quick look at the number. So I've got 235.72. Let's write down its places on the top. So this is my point. Towards the right I will have tens place, this will be the hundredth place, and towards the left I will have ones place, tens place and hundreds place. If I had to write this in the table, it would be like this. So where the point is separated, you have ones, tens, hundreds, 3 places in the whole part. In the decimal part you have 2 places. So write your number below this. You've got 2 under hundreds place, 3 in the tens place, 5 in the ones place, 7 at tenths place and 2 at the hundreds place. Now how does this affect your numbers? The values depend on the place at which a digit is appearing. Let us write down the values for these places. For the ones place, the value is written as 1. For the tens place, it is written by 10. 100, it is 100. Thousands, this is 1000. This is again something you have already done in your junior classes. For the decimal parts, since we also call a decimal part as the fractional part, if you can remember. So these places are in fractions. So there will not be a fraction with 1 in the denominator, because that will mean just 1. There will not be a fraction. For tens place, we have a fraction written as 1 by 10. For hundredths place, we have a fraction with 100 in the denominator. For the thousandth place, we have a fraction with 1000 in the denominator, and this keeps on increasing. Now how does these places give you the place values of the digits? Let us say we had to write down place value of 5 in this number. So if the question was find the place value of 5 in this number, in this decimal number, what we will do, we will first of all identify which place 5 is appearing at. So 5 is at ones place. So the digit multiplied by its place gives you the place value. So for this part, the answer will be 5 multiplied by the place at which it is. So this will be 5. What if we have to find out the place value of 3 in the same number, in 235.72? So now 3 is at which place? 3 is at tens place. So this will be 3 multiplied by 10, which is 30. Now if we had to find out the place value of 7, so place value of 7 in this decimal number, this will be given by 7 multiplied by its place. So 7 is at tens place. Tens place is written as 1 by 10. So the answer for this will be 7 multiplied by 1 over 10, and this will be 7 over 10. You could also give the answer in a decimal number. This will be 0.7. I hope you remember how we converted a fraction into a decimal number. You count the number of zeros from the denominator. Then in your numerator, you count the digits from the right side you have to count the same number of digits as the number of zeros in the denominator and then put the point back. Now let us quickly revise how we used to convert a fraction into a decimal and a decimal into a fraction. Let us say you've been given these fractions. And you have to write, now these are fractions, you want to change them to decimals. So how would you do this? You have done this already. What we do is, when you want to convert a fraction into a decimal number, the denominator disappears. You only keep the numerator, but when the denominator disappears, there is some adjustment made to the numerator. Based on the number of zeros in the denominator, we put a point in the numerator. So right now your denominator has 2 zeros. What we're going to do is we are going to count 2 digits, and that counting has to be done from the end. So from the right side you go towards the left. So from the ones place you start counting the digits. 2 zeros, count 2 places, ones and tens. These 2 places, the point will be put here. Let's do for this one, keeping 19, and 1000 will disappear, but when 1000 disappears, we will make some adjustment to the numerator. Now count the number of zeros from the denominator and put the point after counting 3 zeros. Put the point after 3 digits. So 3 zeros, count 3 digits from the right side. So 1, 2. We don't have the third digit. What do we do in such case? We put a 0 and then we can put a point. And for this empty place, you can put a 0 if you want, or you could just leave it like that. So this is the decimal number obtained from this fraction. Now let's do the opposite. Now let's change decimals into fractions. Again, I'll be taking a couple of examples. Let's take an example, 2.03, and another one is 0.888. So how do we change a decimal number into a fraction? The decimal number will be changed into a fraction by using this. Remove the point, you get your numerator, and to get your denominator for this fraction, what you will do, 1 will be used to mark this point, and the number of zeros depend on the number of digits in the decimal part. So after the point you have 2 digits, so you will have 100. Again, what you want to do is to make a decimal number as a fraction, you keep this number without the point. So without the point, this is 0888. This 0 could be ignored if you want, because it has no value. So this could be simply 888. So you have obtained the numerator. Now we want to write its denominator. The denominator will depend on the point and the number of digits after the point. So point represented by 1, and after the point there are 3 digits, so there will be 3 zeros. So this becomes 888 by 1000. Now let's begin with the exercise. Exercise 2.5. It's on page number 47 and 48 of your textbook. Question number 1. Question number 1 is based on comparison of decimal numbers. To compare two decimal numbers, what we do is we first of all compare their whole part. If you can find out from the whole part which decimal number is bigger, well and good. Otherwise, we move to the decimal part and we start comparing digit by digit. Let's take a look at the first part of this question. We have 0.5 or 0.05. Now if you look at the whole part means the part before the point. Before the point we have 0, 0. So this does not tell me which number is bigger. So I go to the fractional part, the decimal part, after the point. So after the point, if we compare these places, the very first place after the point, the first digit can be compared. So comparing this digit first place. This is the 10th place. Comparing this, I can see 5 is bigger. So that means this number is bigger. So 0.5 is greater. Let's do one more part. Fifth part, 2.03, 2.30. Again, first thing what I want to do is, I will compare the portion before the point. So ignoring this. So from here there is no comparison possible because the values are equal. I need to use the portion after the point. So now ignoring this and looking at this place, after the point I've got 0 and a 3. So just comparing the 10th place, I know which is bigger. This is bigger, so 2.30 is greater. Let's take one more example. Sixth part, 0.8 or 0.88. Comparing your whole part, comparison is not possible because these are equal. So I move to my decimal part. In the decimal part, comparing the 10th place. Now 10th place is also equal. This also doesn't help me. So I move to the next place, the 100th place. At the 100th place, I have no digit here. So I will write a 0. Now I can compare. So this one is bigger. So I've got 0.88 is greater. Now you will do the remaining parts yourself. For your homework, you have second, third and fourth part. Now, before we do question number second, third and fourth, we are doing question number 5 and 6. So you can write down question 2, question 3, question number 4 will be done after question number 5 and question number 6. So let's take question number 5. Question number 5 is write the decimal numbers in the expanded form. So you have to write the decimal numbers in the expanded form. I hope you remember this from last year. Let's do first part. 20.03. To write its expanded form, we can write the expanded form in two ways. So first is the decimal expansion and the other one is the fractional expansion. So I'll be writing capital DE for the decimal expansion, capital FE for the fractional expansion. And how do we do that? For the decimal expansion, I will start with my whole part. Ignoring the decimal part for 20. The expansion will be 20 plus 0, just for this part. 20 plus 0. You can ignore the 0 if you want. Now for the decimal part, I will be taking my whole part as 0. So this is 0. So 1 by 1 till 10th place, ignore this. So I've got 0.0. This is also 0, you could ignore it if you want. Then for the next place, 0.03. So this is the place value of the digit at 10's place, 2. It will be 20. The digit at 1's place, it will be 0. At 10's place, it will be 0.0. At the 100's place, it will be 0.03. Fractional expansion, 20 as such, 0 as such, because these are the parts of the, these are the digits at the whole part. They will not be in fractional form. Now for these you could write fractions because 0 is at the 10th place, 0 by 10 plus 3 is at 100th place, so you can write 3 over 100. If you want, you can write the fractional expansion first, and then from this fractional expansion you can make the decimal expansion. Let me do one more part with you. I'm taking the last part of this question, fourth part. It is 2.034. Let us write fractional expansion first. So 2 as such plus, this is at 10's place, so 0 over 10. This is at hundredths place, so 3 over 100. This is at the thousandth place, so 4 over 1000. Now change into decimals. That will give you your decimal expansion. This is 0.0 plus this will be 3. I need to put the point after 2 digits, so putting a 0 in the beginning. Always put the 0 in the beginning, not at the end. If you put a 0 at the end, it will become 30. 3 will become 30, you will change its value. But putting a 0 in the beginning does not change the value. So now we have 2 digits, I can put the point, and for this empty place in the whole part, I can put a 0. Again for 4, I need to put the point after 3 digits. So I have only 1 digit here. So I'll put 2 extra zeros, then a point. So this is the fractional expansion and this is the decimal expansion. Homework will be second and third part. Now let us do the next question, question number 6. We have already discussed a few examples related to this question. Question number 6, you have to write down the place value of 2 in the decimal numbers. So all these numbers contain 2. You have to write down the place value of the digit. Now there are two types of questions. They are asking for the place or they are asking for the place value. Be careful. The place value of a digit depends on the digit and its place. It's the product of digit and its place. If you want to note down, you can write down place value is equal to digit multiplied by place. So in the first part, I've got 2.56. I want to write down the place value of 2 in all parts. So place value of 2 will be equal to the digit 2 will be multiplied by the place. So at which place is 2 appearing? 2 is at 1's place. I'll multiply it with 1. So this will be 2. Let's do third part. We have 10.25. Now 2 is at 10th place. So place value of 2. Again, 2, the digit for which I have to write down the place value, will be multiplied by the place. Place is 10th place. So 10th is represented by 1 over 10. Or you can write down 2 tenths. In either case, this will be 2 over 10. This will also be 2 over 10. And this is 0.2. Here you could have written 2 ones. That will tell you what the place value is. Let's do another part. Fifth part. I have 63.352. Now 2 is at which place? This is 10, this is 100th, this is 1000th. So place value of 2 will be equal to 2000th. So this will be 2 over 1000. Change it into a decimal number. This is what your answer is. From question number 6, the homework is second part, fourth part and fifth part.